Ukrainian forces are counterattacking in the Pokrovsk direction. Russia suggests conducting a special demographic operation. Ukraine's allies are reconsidering the expediency of rapid pilot training due to the F-16 catastrophe. I'm Maria Drutska, and I will also tell you about how my favorite Viktor Orban once again has spouted his peaceful idea for ending the war. Ukrainian forces had 4 or 5 brigades in reserve, which are now active in the Pokrovsk direction, conducting small counterattacks that slow and repel the Russians. The capture of Pokrovsk by the Russians, once seemed inevitable, now appears less likely, writes Forbes. The publication notes that the Russian Second Combined Arms Army, comprising dozens of regiments and brigades, outnumbered the Ukrainian forces around Pokrovsk, which are part of the Tavria Operational Strategic Group, by about 4 times. According to the article, Ukrainians have been retreating along the Pokrovsk axis since mid-February, when Russians broke through the defense of the city fortress of Avdiivka at the eastern end of the axis. According to media, Ukrainians held 4 or 5 brigades in reserve, each consisting of up to 2,000 soldiers and hundreds of units of equipment. Russian propagandist Yevgeny Norin described these units as undamaged and well equipped. Forbes reports that some of these reserves are now joining the fight along the last line of trenches and fortified towns 5 to 6 miles from Pokrovsk and its vital supply routes. Exactly what was anticipated is happening. Ukrainian armed forces have begun to counterattack, a Russian blogger reported. And this is helping to stabilize the front line, at least for now. At present, Ukrainian reinforcements, at least the Karatag National Guard Brigade, the 12th Azov Brigade, and the 93rd Mechanized Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, are conducting small counterattacks, the main effect of which is slowly or slightly repelling the Russians. The fierce actions of the Karatag Brigade in Selidovo, a frontline town southeast of Pokrovsk, may be the most significant of the recent counterattacks. For several days now, T-64 tanks from the brigade have been destroying and capturing Russian tanks and combat vehicles attempting to penetrate Selidovo along the main east-west road. The Russians must pass through Selidovo to be able to fire accurately at Pokrovsk, but now with fresh and well-equipped Ukrainian forces in Selidovo and advancing, the capture of Pokrovsk by the Russians, once seeming inevitable, appears somewhat less likely. Well, at the same time, according to the 24th Aidar Independent Assault Brigade, our units on the Pokrovsk direction are severely exhausted by constant attacks. The enemy ruthlessly uses aviation and conducts assaults with a 10-to-1 advantage. We are fighting well-trained infantry that attacks daily from 4 a.m. to 9 p.m. In such conditions, there are 2 options: hold positions to the last or gradually retreat in combat to prepared lines of defense, allowing our forces to destroy as many of the enemy as possible, a fighter noted. Initiative of the battlefield can change hands at any moment, so it's premature to concede Mirnograd and Pokrovsk on the internet. The defense line there was prepared. It's a reliability that only can be tested in a battlefield, and we must prepare for the worst but hope for the best. And I advise doing the same, said the fighter. Well, Before I continue, I want to thank all of you who support this channel, send coffees on Buy Me a Coffee, and become Patreons. Please do so if you want more videos on the channel, and you can also help this channel by subscribing to it and like this video, as it will definitely help Ukrainian content to be seen by more people. I suggest you also subscribe to my Twitter page, where I post regular updates about the situation in Ukraine, and to my Instagram, where I show the daily life in Ukraine. In Russia, it's necessary to conduct a special demographic operation to prevent the total extinction of the population in the future, stated Albert Bakhtishin, director of the Central Economics and Mathematics Institute of the Russian Academy of Science, in an interview with Interfax. He noted that the problem is catastrophic. He said, we lose about 500,000 to 600,000 people per year. Really, why would it be? And this poses a threat to national security, given the size of the territory and the need for a significant number of people to maintain necessary economic growth rates. Thus, one of the most important tasks today is not just to replenish, but to increase the population of the country. He recalled the UN forecast, according to which the population of Russia could fall to 120.5 million by the end of the century. 120 million, damn, why there are so many of them? He also mentioned a more pessimistic estimate of 106 million people from an institute funded by the World Health Organization. 106. Well, better, but still like a lot. Among effective ways to increase birth rates, he mentioned the deurbanization, spreading people evenly across the country and increasing living space per person. Briefly, there is a proposal to resettle Russians in villages to increase birth rates. Well, I don't know how much birth rates will increase, maybe because in the poor Russian villages there is such a low standard of living and basically nothing to do, that all that's left is to drink vodka and fuck. Sounds tempting for average Russians, I'm sure, but then they will grow up in those shitholes, start robbing and drinking, end up in prison, get sent somewhere to war, well, hopefully not to Ukraine, because by then the war will have ended, and so on. And then they will die, and Russia will again have a demographic problem. Well, you get the picture, right? Well, regarding the situation mentioned in the Wall Street Journal, Western officials are currently discussing the wisdom of Ukraine's decisions to deploy new fighters in combat just a few weeks after they arrived in the country, and to send pilots with limited hours of training on the aircraft. Western pilots, even after completing training, often fly for many months with their units in training before attempting complex missions in combat zones. In contrast, Ukrainian pilots quickly went from training to the battlefield. The catastrophe shows what happened when you try to rush things. One of the interlocutors of the publication stated. Meanwhile, journalists noted that there are currently no plans to adjust the current training program for Ukrainian pilots. Well, investigators still do not know the exact cause of the catastrophe. However, one theory is that a Russian missile exploded near F-16, either damaging the aircraft or forcing the pilot to maneuver too low over the ground, leading to the disaster. US visitors are providing consultations in the investigation, journalists note. Investigators are considering satellite images, flight data records, and other information to make a final decision, US official reported. Well, what I can say, if our partners had given us the weapons they promised sooner, maybe we would have had more time to prepare to fly and so on. But when the situation is critical, unfortunately, as much as we are grateful to our partners for all the help, delays in supply cost many Ukrainian lives. This also concerns the decision, or rather the lack of decision, regarding allowing Ukraine to use Western weapons on Russian territory and at its airfield, ammunition depots, and other legitimate targets. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban again put another peaceful idea: a meeting between President Vladimir Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin to end the full-scale Russian war against Ukraine. He said this at an economic forum in the Italian town, reports Politico. At the economic forum in Italy, Orban was asked if a meeting between Zelensky and Putin was possible. He replied, "Of course. We need communication with Ukraine and we need communication with Russia. That's first. Second," he said, "ceasefire. If we wait for a peace plan that both warring sides will accept, there will never be peace. There is no real intentions of either side to make a quick peace and ceasefire," said the Hungarian Prime Minister. Victor, how to put it softly? Do you think a quick peace means simply handing over territories to Russia and letting the deaths of all our people be in vain? Victor, a ceasefire. And it's okay that Putin and Russia are bombing us every goddamn day. I don't remember the last time I even slept properly. I wake up almost every night from explosions. I haven't slept without waking up for very long time, like many other residents. And other residents, including very many children, are dying because Putin is not going to stop to launch bombs. And you, Victor, continue to ask peace from us. Imagine, we want peace. We want our people to stop dying. We want our children to go study in schools normally, not to hide and tremble from fear and hide in the bomb shelters or basements. I understand that you are scared that the gas and oil tap might soon be turned off, but honestly, I don't give a shit that you will have to pay more for gas because you haven't done anything to get rid of dependence on Russia. Okay, that's all, because Orban pissed me off. What do you think, guys? Whether Ukraine is going to be given a permission to strike Russia's territory with Western weapons? Let me know in comments. And I want to thank all of you who supporting Ukraine, watching Ukrainian content. Please like this video. And if you really like it and you want more videos on the channel, you can support the channel's development on Patreon or buy me a coffee. See you soon, and Slava Ukraini!